Yo, what's up, everyone? Envoy Sports Hub again. Welcome back to our top 10 winners of 2020. Me, Howie, along with one of my good friends to talk to me, Cole.
What's going on, everybody?
So, just like that, we're going to get into our top 10 winners of 2020. So, these are the people that at the start of the year, basically, were kind of at the bottom, or, in 2020 was a big year for their UFC careers. Isn't that right, Cole?
That is correct, Howie.
So we're gonna get
Let's
right
get
in.
right into it.
Yep, get right into part one. This is the honorable mentions. So honorable mention, I will go first. Cole will go second. That's the way it's just gonna work here. If we say some names wrong, please excuse us. From us speaking English, some of the names, the words, the letters, they just don't go together. They don't gel. So, anyways, honorable mention number one for me is Sean O'Malley. He had a win by TKO in March. Win over Eddie Wineland by KO in June, that walk-off KO. It was a beautiful KO, and then he lost to Marlon Vera by TKO in August. He had that hurt leg. I mean, I still think the UFC, he's an extremely skilled striker, extremely marketable guy. I think that the UFC still really likes him, even though he did get that loss on it. His O left him. But I think 2020 was a good year for him, and I think 2021 will hopefully gets healthy, be better. Now, Cole's pick for his honorable mention was...
Yeah, Howie, my pick was Khabib Nurmagomedov, the Eagle. And although he only had one fight in 2020, he did absolutely dominate Justin Gaethje and defeated him by submission. And to point out your pick as well, Sugar Sean definitely deserves to be in the honorable mentions for this year. I mean, he's just an outstanding fighter, sorry, and he's progressing tremendously this so far. As for Khabib, he did only have that one fight. He did dominate him. I wouldn't say 2020 was his best year. I mean, definitely not personally. It was bad news back in June when he lost his dad to coronavirus. And but after losing his dad to come back and fight the way he did, I think he definitely deserves a nomination in this year's top 10 and get that honorable mention.
And I think for Khabib, it was a big fight for him to kind of be like this, like the 155-pound belt. Like, for so long, he would have this 24-0 record, 25-0, and he wasn't getting that title shot. But this fight, especially when people thought that Gaethje was going to beat him, people thought that Gaethje was going to win this fight. It really just showed how dominant of a fighter Khabib truly was.
Yeah, Khabib showed up, he showed out, and he cemented himself as definitely the best lightweight for sure. And he's cemented himself as the best pound-for-pound fighter in the UFC, in my opinion.
Yeah, and maybe, just with his record, if he gets a third, he might go down as one of the best 155ers we ever had.
You're absolutely correct.
So here we go, on to our actual number 10 for once. Number 10 for me, Chaos Williamson. Chaos Williams, that was sorry, I messed up a little there. So first off, February 8th, he beats Alex Moreno by KO. Goes basically the whole year off, goes November 14th against Alassane. Beats him by KO as well. Now, he did lose recently to Michael Pereira on December the 19th. But even that fight, I mean, Michael Pereira is a good fighter. Very unorthodox. If you ever see him fight, he just does flips. He does the whole 9 yards. But even for that Chaos Williams, he went from basically, I think he was on Dana White Contender Series, if I'm not mistaken. And he went to a level, and especially, with his knockout power, he went to somewhere where Twitter was going up about him and all that stuff. And he went up to being, kind of a prelim guy to a guy you can stick on the main card to put on a show. So now Cole's pick number 9. Who is it?
Miranda Maverick. Again, Miranda Maverick, she only had a 1-0 record in 2020. She beat Liana Jojua, I believe I'm pronouncing that right,
Yeah,
hopefully,
I think so.
by TKO, and which I believe it was that nasty elbow. She got her with that elbow, and again, she dominated that fight. I actually, unlike Howie, do not even have Chaos Williams in my top 10 for the reason that he lost to Michael Pereira. And because I just don't believe that if you're losing a fight, then you deserve to be in this top 10. That's how my mindset kind of went for this. But back to Miranda Maverick, I mean, she is a very good young fighter. She's very talented, and I think like she has the potential to climb that flyweight division.
Now, I hear what you're talking about, the win-loss record, but I feel like sometimes, even when you lose and you have, like, if you win and you do it dominatingly and you get on, like, that, the UFC Twitter, the UFC Facebook, and, like, you get that publicity, I feel like that also can help you, which I feel Chaos Williams got. He's now a guy that when people see him, they will be like, this guy is going to brawl, this guy's one-punch power, all that stuff. So that's kind of where I'm thinking from even the one loss.
I hear you on that, and I respect your decision. But to me, you take that L. I mean, it's kind of hard to categorize yourself as a really great year.
Yeah. Okay. Now on to our number 9. Number 9 is both of our picks. Actually, we both picked Charles Oliveira. We both picked him.
Yes, we did.
So he won by Kevin Lee by decision March 14th. Kevin Lee, good wrestler, good grappler. What can you see? And then we saw him basically destroy on December the 12th Tony Ferguson. Now, Cole, I don't know how much you've watched Tony Ferguson, but he's not a guy that you dominate.
And it was a complete domination, too. Like, he won each round 30-26 from each judge. And he honestly should have submitted Tony Ferguson if Tony Ferguson wasn't just a beast.
He got in that nasty arm.
I swear he broke his arm.
Tony just wasn't tapping out.
But, yeah, he started off that year with that early third-round submission to Kevin Lee, and he finished it off with beating very decisively one of the all-time greats.
Exactly, one of the all-time greats. Tony Ferguson, he's a little out there. 99.9% of people, they would have tapped out to that armbar.
100% of people would
100%.
Actually, no, you're right. That 99.9% Tony Ferguson is that 0.1%.
He's that 0.1%. He's that 1% crazy. He's gonna give you everything he's got every single time he's out there. So here we go on to our number 8. I have Yuri Prohaska. So he only beat Volkan Osimavir, but I feel like even with that one fight, I mean, Volkan isn't a... He's one of the top there guys. I think he's fought for a title. I mean, he's a good fighter, and just seeing him do this, seeing him knock him out like he did, it was kind of a thing saying that this might be one of the next guys. This guy, even though he only fought once, this guy took the opportunity that he had, and he made the most of it. So now, Cole, who's your number 8?
At my number 8, I have Israel Adesanya. And I have him here for those two reasons that you can see on the slide. He beat Yoel Romero and he beat Paulo Costa. Now, the Yoel Romero fight was a very slow fight. I'm sure lots of people remember for kind of the awkwardness of the fight.
2 counterattackers. That's all he wanted to do.
Exactly. He did get the dub. And then, come September, he fights Paulo Costa, probably one of the scariest guys in the UFC. The sheer power of that guy is, like, it's just crazy. And the way Israel Adesanya was able to just break him down and figure him out and just dominate him was spectacular.
Actually,
so, both
of these guys are scary guys.
They're scary guys, but
scary guys.
The last stylebender, he's showing out.
And then in 2021, maybe we'll talk about this in the next slides, but he's trying to be the champ.
Yeah, he's trying to be the two-time champ, and he's facing in March. He's facing Jan
Blachowicz. There you go. I'm telling you, some of these names they just get to you sometimes.
It takes some getting used to.
But here we go, talking about him with our number 7. There it is, Jan Blachowicz. There he is. He's right there. Beat Corey Anderson by KO February the 15th. Then he beat Dominic Reyes in September the 26th. I mean, for a time when John Jones left the division to go up to heavyweight, and you kind of were wondering after he had that brawl, that war with Dominic Reyes, where Reyes almost won. I think he won on one of the score sheets. It really kind of left it up for air. Everyone thought that Dominic Reyes might have been the next John Jones, the next champion of the 205 division. But then Jan comes out of nowhere, knocks out Corey Anderson. Corey Anderson's not a slouch in any way. Dominic Reyes, he puts on an absolute brawl against, puts on an absolute clinic, beats him by KO, wins that belt. And I mean, that's just, 2020, the UFC, who knows what can happen. But your number 7 is
Mackenzie Dern. And Mackenzie Dern had a great year, in my opinion. She beat Hannah Cyphers with that knee bar back in May. And then she also beat Rena Marcos and Virna Jandaroba. Or Yandaroba, I'm sorry.
It's all good. Some of these names, I hope you'll forgive us about some of these name pronunciations. But yeah, Mackenzie Dern, it was a real exciting year for women's MMA.
It was. And her Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I mean, back in 2019, her fight against Amanda Ribas, who is actually next on my list. Don't want to spoil it. I did spoil it. And, Amanda Ribas just fought her game, and she didn't let her get to the ground. But in those 3 fights that this year, she got her game going and got to the ground and got 3 victories.
Yeah, and I mean, again, for the women's MMA divisions, I mean, Nunes says she doesn't have too long left, so I mean, all those are wide open for the taking. And talking about the women's division, we'll get up to our number 6 picks, which, again, both of us, we have Amanda Rivas. Both of us have her 2-0 record. Randa Marcos by decision on March the 14th, and then in July she went against Paige Van Zandt, submitted her. I mean, again, she has I don't want to say, like, she has a likable personality. Like, she's good for the UFC, and also she backs up. She backs up with good fighting.
Yeah, I mean, Amanda Ribas, she really showed her potential in 2020, and that earned herself a fight versus Marina Rodriguez, who is currently sitting at the 8th seed. And like you said, like that, with Nunes maybe,
not
going to be out of the octagon soon, that number 1 spot for the best woman fighter is right there for the taking. And who knows if Amanda Ribas is gonna,
Who knows? But I can totally see her in 2021, maybe early 2022, competing for that championship if she goes the way that she's going on.
And I agree with you.
Okay, but here we go. We're gonna move along to our number 5. Our number 5, or should I say, I'll say mine first, is Marvin Vettori. 2-0, submits Carl Robertson on June the 13th. Wins Jack Hermanson by decision December the 5th. I mean, he's a good prospect. I don't want to say that he's up there yet for maybe a title, but I mean, the glimpses that you've seen of him, the stuff that you've seen Marvin do, I mean, again, I don't have enough good words to say about him and what he can do in the future. But going on to your number 5, who is it?
Is Davison Figueiredo. And I know earlier in the video I said, the record's everything. And looking at Figueiredo's record in 2020, he didn't have that draw.
I don't that draw doesn't take away anything. That draw was one of the best fights of the year.
And that was my point that I was about to make, is that he retained that belt, and it was a great fight, And, early on in the year, he faced Jonah Benavidez twice, KOing him the first time, then submitting him. And then he goes on and fights Alex Perez, which he wins by submission. And, it was just a dominating year for Davison Figueiredo, and he's just showing how he is the best in his division.
Exactly. And it was after Demetrius Johnson left, after Cejudo retired, the flyweights are always one of those things where you don't know how it's going to go. But then each time someone leaves, when Johnson leaves, Cejudo steps up. When Cejudo leaves, Figueiredo stepped up.
Yeah, and he stepped up in a big way, and he showed just how good of a fighter he really is in 2020.
So here we go on to our number 4. Number 4, pick top 10 fighters who won 2020. I have Joaquin Buckley. Joaquin Buckley, even though he went 2-1, should I say. So started the year off losing to Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland, I don't know. You accept that. He won against oh no, yeah, I'm not gonna be able to say that name. I'm sorry about that. Uh, he won that by KO on October the 10th. Beat Jordan Wright by KO November the 21st. I mean, just that knockout. That knockout, the one that you see on the side of the thing, it blew up.
It had knockout of the year potential.
I think it was knockout. It was one of the best KOs I've ever seen.
It was something that I don't think anybody has ever seen that in the UFC. I don't think anybody's even done it.
Someone catches a kick and you turn around and do a flying back heel. Like, you don't
and
do
to do it the way he did, where he just caught him so perfectly and he was out once his toe touched his cheek.
And I'll say this about him. It's the same with, if you guys remember, Lando Venata. Lando Venata hit a spinning kick back at UFC 207. 206, 207. And I mean, for the next 3 fights of his career, everyone was hyped up for that fight because of what he did, that spinning kick. Everyone was excited to see something magical again. And I feel like that's the thing that Joaquin Buckley is going to get, where even when he fights, on and on, people are going to be like, this is must watch. This is must watch. We have to watch this. Something magical might happen again.
Yeah, he's got that X Factor now on his name.
He has the X Factor. So who do you have for your number 4?
So for my number 4 pick, I have the man from down under, Jimmy Crute. Now, Jimmy Crute, he fought 2 times in 2020, and he won both.
Yep.
He beat Michal Olek. Oh my goodness. Oleksiejczuk.
When we were looking at this and I heard who your number 4 was, I said, I'm sorry. I said, I'm sorry because of the names. I looked these names down, I wrote them down, and I'm like, oof.
Yeah, and Modestas Bukauskas. I think I got that one good.
Yeah, I think that was okay.
But 2 very good fights. He fought very well. He beat Michel by submission, and he beat Modestas by KO. And, I believe what is he only like? He's like 20, he's 23?
I think he's 24, 25
24?
Now. 24 to 25.
In that light heavyweight division, there's some competition there, but I think that, he's going to make his way up. And he earned himself a fight against Johnny Walker that's going to happen in 2021. So
yeah, I think in March, right?
He showed out in 2020, and things are just looking up for him in 2021.
Exactly. So now we go on to number 3. Now I have Figueiredo here. Now we what are we supposed to say that we haven't said already? He has really taken that flyweight division and made it his division. Now, Moreno might contend for that. But he really took over from the greats of Johnson, Cejudo, and he said, for the flyweights, got to be much watch. They have to be top of the pay-per-views. They can sell. I enjoy him watching him fight. He's exciting to watch. Knockout power, but I'm not going to get too far into this because we already talked about him. So, Cole, your number 3 pick, who is it?
Khamzat Chimaev. Now, Khamzat,
he's the king of Fight Island.
He is the king of Fight Island, in that 170 pounds, 6'2", all of that. He fought Gerald Meerschaert, with that knockout back in September. And he fought 3 times, and he
twice in 10 days.
Each fight. Twice in 10 days, exactly. And there's just so much to talk about this guy. The skill, his potential, and in that welterweight division, he will be a force to be reckoned with in 2021.
He is a force. He's already getting main event spots. One just got canceled recently. I don't know if they're going to reschedule that or when it's going to be rescheduled, but he's going up there in the card. They want to get him on a main event of a fight night or something. So 2021 is really going to be looking like it could be his year if he continues what he's done.
So who do we have at the number 2 spot, Howie?
At number 2, this is where me and you kind of go off a little bit. I had Khamzat here. Again, we just kind of talked about him, so I'm not going to bring up too much. I mean, again, what can you say? His Fight Island trip was legendary, twice in 10 days. The way that he knocked them out, the way that he submitted them, I mean, it's stuff that legends are made of. It's stuff that legends are made of right there. It's stuff that helps you go up the card. It's stuff that helps you get into the goodwill of Dana White. I mean, there's just so much stuff you could say about him this year. But year number 2, we've already talked about him, but
is Jan Blachowicz, and I'm pretty sad that you had to put him so high up on your list because, to me, he was just at that threshold at the beginning of 2020 of where he's putting himself in that elite category, and I believe in 2020 he did. I mean, with those 2 outstanding victories, who knows? I mean, actually, he's gonna fight. Who is he gonna fight in 2021? Adesanya.
A super fight, all that super fight, kinda.
He's gonna fight. He's gonna have the super fight, and if he wins that, I mean, who knows? 2021 might be his year.
It might be even better than this year. Might be even better.
Yeah, not too much more to say other than that.
No, there's really not. Just great here. So now, number 1. We got number 1 here.
The one, the only.
The one, the only. Most of you, I think, probably expected this if it's not Khamzat. But it is Kevin Holland. I mean, Cole, what can you say about this? What can you say about this guy's 2020? Just tell me some stuff.
Craziness. Absolute craziness. To fight 5 times in the year, and to what? He fought August, September, October. He didn't fight. He fought 4 to 5 months.
He just took November off.
And he only won to decision. Only one against Darren Stewart. All the other ones TKO, KO. And I mean, there wasn't that many people that knew the name Kevin Holland at the beginning of 2020. But at the end, there's a lot of people who know the name Kevin Holland.
Oh, yeah. And even beating a guy like Joaquin Buckley, who's on my top 10. I mean, the people that he beat, the way he beat them, the stuff he talked. I mean, it was again stuff that, people in like the UFC only dream of doing.
Yeah, like his 2020 couldn't have been more perfect. It couldn't have been more perfect for Kevin Holland.
We don't know how 2021 is going to top this, but if he does, I mean, hats off to him. Like,
couple fights on a belt.
I guess I could beat it. Okay, but just like that, that's our number 1. So we're going to end up wrapping this up. I hope everyone has a good day. Whatever, like and subscribe. So have a good one and see ya.
Peace.